Hey everyone, it's Jamie from Independence Street Tarot and Seasons Ritual, and I thought I would do a midweek check-in. So I pulled three cards, and they were three doozies. Okay, so this is what came out. Midweek check-in. Five of Cups, followed by the Death card, followed by the Three of Swords. And so this is a collective pool. And so if you guys are in this feeling of grief, or a feeling of why does this keep happening to me, or a feeling of I can't keep doing this again, it's important for you to understand when that story comes up and you say, I can't, why does this keep happening to me? And you say, and you go over the what keeps happening to you, that's the story that the universe or spirit or source or God or whatever it is that you believe in, that is the story that it is screaming at you. It is time to change. We're changing this story. Okay. And so it's important to see, like, to break it down. What is it that I keep feeling like I keep doing, right? That is this five of cups. Cups is feelings, cups is emotions. Okay. And this is you, like, just still going over the same story over and over and over again. You're sad. Okay. You feel a little defeated, shoulders down. You keep seeing the cups that are spilt instead of turning around and seeing the two cups that are ready for you to take and move forward and move on. Right. When this card comes up, I read it a couple of ways. In one way is, if you are grieving something or you're sad that you felt like you lost something, it's important for you to understand when this card comes up, you have grieved it every which way to Friday. There is nothing else you can do to grieve it differently or to experience differently to make the outcome change. The outcome is the outcome, and it's time to move forward. It's time to move on. And I know sometimes as healers or as empaths, it's easy for us to dip back into that self-sabotage energy or feeling sorry for ourselves energy. And so it is important when this energy comes up, look at what you're saying. Just stop and listen. What is it that I'm telling myself? What is it when I say, why do I keep doing this to myself? What is the why? Or if the story is, how do I keep doing to myself? What is the how? And literally take time and write it down. And then look at that story and say, this is no longer my story. What have I learned from these things? Are there times in this story where I should have listened to myself and instead I ignored myself? If the answer is yes, then that is part of turning around and picking up a new cup to move forward. From now on, I'm going to listen to myself. From now on, I'm going to pump the brakes on something. On now on, I don't care whatever anyone says. I'm going to do it the way that I really feel like I should be doing it. This Five of Cups is here saying it's time for us to move forward as a society. It's time for us to move forward as a collective. It's time for us to move forward in the stories that we have for ourselves, okay? Because the Death card is here. And the Death card is ready to trample over that old way of being, all those old stories that you allowed other people to place on you, and you were like, yeah, I guess I kind of like that way, or maybe I'm kind of do that have kept you in this energy are now dead. It's important for everyone to say, those are not my stories anymore. I'm not reliving this pattern anymore. Death, show me the pattern so then we can kill it, so we can move forward, so we can have an empty playing field where then we can grab these two cups, throw off that cape. I'm sure there is a beautiful wardrobe underneath it, and head for the hills, you guys. Let this death come in. Let it take it. I'm not doing this again. I don't care what anyone says about me. I know who I am. And I love that about me. My friends love that about me. My goldfish loves that about me. That's all that matters. Let death get rid of all those old stories that are no longer you and start moving forward. Okay. Because when this Three of Swords energy comes in, this is a lot. I mean, this is a lot of grieving, you guys. And if you're in the middle of grieving an old life, you're in the middle of grieving an old love, you're in the middle of grieving, it's not going to be what I thought it was going to be. Accept that. Accept that. Because what it is going to be more amazing than you can ever imagine. When that Three of Swords is here, remember, swords piercing through the heart, swords is mental energy. The Three of Swords is always thought of as the heartache card, right? But it comes in if that's what you want to think about. It's only a heartache if you think it's a heartache. Does that make sense? And I'm not trying to say bypass your feelings. Don't, I'm not saying don't grieve, okay? But it's also important to say, how can I have a fresh perspective so I don't keep staying in this energy? How can I have a fresh perspective to think about these things, to think about myself, to think about my life in order to allow death to occur in order for new things to spring up? The more you think about, this is it, that's it, it's over, forget it. That's the Three of Swords energy. Swords is mental. Heartache, sure, we feel it. We need to honor it. We need to bless it. At the same time, we need to think about what the story is we're telling ourselves that keeps us in heartache. And we need to think about if there's a way we can have a new perspective and to change it. Because with these three heavy hitters, which to me, again, isn't doomsday, but it's telling me we're in the middle of a completion. We're in the middle of clearing things out. We're in the middle of starting to think about things differently, with our lives, how we see love, how we allow ourselves to receive love, our own stories. It's time for us to let death come in and move these things out. Because on the bottom of the deck, it was the Nine of Cups. And the Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. And when this Nine of Cups comes in, it is important to start telling yourself, what is it that I wish for? Okay. And really just think, I wish I could get out of this pattern. Okay. Well, then let's get ways to get out of this pattern. What do you wish for? Well, I wish for, a new love to come in. I wish for a true love to come in. Okay. Then you start saying to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to start to then see the red flags and then really honor those red flags instead of arguing with myself like maybe these aren't red flags when they actually are. Wish fulfillment is here because it brings it back to your feelings, right? It brings it back to this idea that we need to have a new conversation. We need to have new feelings. This guy is telling you this is the energy to tap into it now because death has come in to help move through these energies. Also, if you're asking yourself, what do you wish for? And you're just like, nothing, then you need to make a note of that as well, right? The idea isn't that we need to be overwhelmed with all these different emotions. The idea is to understand that the way we think about things is what keeps us in certain energies. Okay, the way that we think about things, the way that we think other people perceive things is what keeps us in these tougher energies, I guess I would say. Well, they're not that fun. I can say that. That guy does not look like he's having any fun, right? Sorry, it keeps getting darker and darker. It's about to rain, so like the video is getting blurry. But when the Nine of Cups comes in, you can see, the gold, right? The blue, the red. It's happier. He's asking, what is it that you want? And why are you stopping yourself from getting it, right? Allow death to come in. Allow yourself, if you were to let all of that go and let it just die and like it never happened, and it's okay to say that, like, what if that never happened? Who would I be right now? And what would it be that I wish for? you know, we're always, I think, afraid. There's that fear, right? That we've got to keep bringing these old ideas and some of these things along because we're not going to learn from them. But the reality of it is you've learned from it. You have learned from it. You're not going to forget it, but you don't have to bring it along. You can start listening to yourself and being like, that's a red flag. Okay. You can start listening to yourself and saying, we've got to move forward. We can't stay in this energy anymore. We can't keep thinking about heartache for the rest of our lives. Okay. We've got to get into wish fulfillment. Okay, you guys. All right. Well, I'm going to get off with that. Please get into wish fulfillment. If you have any questions, always reach out below. You can reach out Instagram, YouTube, or my websites. And also, if I'm still doing the Zoom special, so if you'd like to get 3 readings, set that up half price. That's also will be listed in my link tree below. Okay, you guys. If you're going through this rough time, if you're going through this grieving, if you keep thinking this is it, surrender. Surrender. It can be scary, but you surrender and you let it go. You ask yourself, what have I learned from these things? How am I going to trust myself moving forward? And what is it that I wish for? Okay. I'll see you guys on Sunday for sure with Helen, the Crimson Cadaverous. And then we'll be talking about the new moon in Cancer that's also happening on Monday. Till then, you guys.